Hi, I'm Tanja Hayes. Let's learn some more economics. Today we're going to talk about the production possibilities frontier, which we like to abbreviate to PPF because we're very efficient in economics. We don't like to waste time. And also we're going to be learning about opportunity costs as they relate to the PPF. So this little diagram now is talking about two different goods. So two different things that you could kind of do with your time. So let's say that we have apples and cherries growing in our backyard. And in one day, if we spend some time out there, we can either pick 30 apples if that's all we're doing, or we could pick 60 cherries if that's all we're doing. Or we could pick any combination of the two. So if we had all the numbers here, we could read off, we could pick like half of it as apples, so 15 of them, and 30 cherries, any of these combinations. So that's what's called a production possibilities frontier. It shows the two different items that we can produce, and we can produce anywhere along this line. Now, we use this to figure out what's called opportunity costs. So an opportunity cost is basically economics speak for what you give up. So if you're choosing one alternative, what's the highest alternative that you're giving up, highest valued alternative? But we can just think of it as what you give up. So we could ask ourselves, what's our opportunity cost for apples? And what that means is if we're saying, if we choose to pick one more apple, what's that costing us? What are we giving up? Well, in this world, the only things that exist are apples and cherries. So if we decide to pick one more apple, we're going to give up picking some of those cherries. And so we're going to think about how do we calculate what that amount is? What are we giving up? So the question is, what is the opportunity cost for apples right now? So we're going to look at these extreme values of the maximum amounts that we could pick, and we're going to use them, do a little math, and figure it out. So we know that we could pick 30 apples, or if we chose to spend our time on the cherries, we could pick 60 cherries. We know that. So if we wanted to pick 30 apples, we would be giving up 60 cherries. But for the opportunity cost, we want to get it down to 1. So if we picked one more apple, how many cherries are we giving up? So we're basically going to just kind of divide by the 30 on both sides of the equation, so to speak, or rather inside of this sentence. So we could pick 30 apples or 60 cherries. But if we're interested in one apple, let's just divide by 30, both of these amounts. Then we're getting that we could pick one apple or 2 cherries. So if we wanted to pick one extra apple, we're giving up 2 cherries because of this division here. So our opportunity cost for one apple, for one apple is then 2 cherries. And that again came from that little division that we just did. 60 divided by 30 is 2. And so now we know the opportunity cost for picking one apple is 2 cherries. We could also be asked about the flip side of this. What if we wanted to know the opportunity cost of picking cherries? Okay, so then we just look at the same kind of math. Where is this thing? It's here. And we are just going to put in those words instead because now we're interested in the opportunity cost for cherries. Cherries. So this time we're just going to say, well, we could pick our 60 cherries. And at this point, I'm going to abbreviate cherries to ch, because who has time? Or we could be picking our 30 apples. But opportunity cost is something that we measure in terms of the cost of one item. So if we wanted to pick one cherry, not 60 of them, what would we be giving up? So we're going to, again, reduce down to 1 in the item that we're talking about. I don't like that I did that. There we go. Okay. So we're going to divide by 60 to get it down to just 1 cherry. And we'll divide this by 60 as well so that we are keeping everything even. And what are we finding then? Our opportunity cost of picking 1 cherry. So our opportunity cost for 1 cherry is going to be equal to 30 divided by 60 apples. In other words, 1/2 apple. And so if you are asked here, what's the opportunity cost based on this graph for cherries, it's 1/2 apple for every cherry. And notice that the opportunity cost for each item is going to be in the units of the other item, because we're going to be giving up the other item to pick this item. So that's the basics of the production possibilities frontier and those opportunity costs. See you soon.